physiological or organic ED, at least in the United States, autopsies were done on young military guys coming back from the Vietnam conflict. And what they found was they already had arteriosclerosis or fatty streaks, atherosclerosis, not in their inner ears and in the fine structures at 18. And that is our diet. Now, the thing is, a lot of our blood vessels, pretty much when we have fatty streaks forming, it forms over the entire body, unless you have a trauma area where our heart blood vessels are 10 times bigger than the blood vessels in our penis. And let's say you got a blood vessel this big and it's shrinking. Well, if the
you have no pressure going downwards.
Exactly. Because the penis is basically, it's like a balloon with a little hole in it. And the blood vessels going in, when they expand, can put more blood in than the veins coming back in return. And what basically happens is the cavernous nerve, which is the extension of the pudendal nerve, releases a series of signals that eventually causes nitric oxide to be produced. And the nitric oxide is basically makes the blood vessels dilate. Now, what's very interesting is that signal can come from the brain via the brain stem, but you can also fire the pudendal nerve off independently with paralyzed people. If you have stimulation on the penis that goes roughly 1 to 2 millimeters amplitude between 60 and 80 hertz, for most men, unless they have severe nerve damage, their cavernous nerve will produce will set the process off to produce nitric oxide by itself. There's a wonderful guy, his name's Dave Buck, and he's the founder of Orion Medical. They distribute our product, and Orion Medical focuses on the paralyzed fertility market because Dave was he was a major manufacturer manager for Sony, I believe, Sony Manufacturing, and he was on a ski trip and fell down and didn't think it was wrong, suddenly got it, and he's paralyzed. And he was paralyzed from his waist down. And unfortunately, his wife left him in a bad way. And then later, he got married again to a wonderful, wonderful lady. Her name's Roma. And they wanted to have kids. And, but how could he? He couldn't feel anything. Well, what he found was there were two guys in Denmark, in Copenhagen. I'm not going to pronounce their names because Lars and his first name, one of the guys, because I'll brutalize that Danish name. Okay. But they were working with paralyzed Danish military vets that wanted to have children. And the previous technique was they would give the men a hormone to try to increase sperm production. And then they'd surgically go in, take out the vas deferens, that little structure that holds the sperm, and try to put it in a petri dish and open it up in a fluid to get active sperm out, and then do in vitro fertilization. That only worked a tiny amount of the time, and it's one shot. Once you cut your vas deferens, you're basically sterilized. Yep. Yeah. What they found was, and they were trying different frequencies of percussive massage. What they found was you could stimulate the cavernous nerve in that frequency range, induce erection. And if you did it the right way, long enough, you could induce ejaculation independent of the spine. And so they gave the vets a kit with this, and basically they had a in-lab device at the time. Dave actually went to Denmark and manufactured that product. That's the Ferticare, and also the Vibrorect, and those are medical devices. Basically, so you can stimulate that erection independently, but again, talking about arteriosclerosis, or actually that's getting calcium, atherosclerosis from the fat. As your arteries get smaller and smaller and smaller, and your tiny arterioles get smaller and smaller, eventually the penis gets clogged up. That is a major cause of ED.